happy day. It's Friday, it's yoga. Take a big deep breath and settle into your seat of honor. Take a moment to close your eyes and rest your hands on your lap. And just take this moment to listen to your body. Listen to your breath. And we've been working this week to find the Shushumna Nadi, the central channel of the body. And so I want you to begin by taking the breath up and down that channel just to imprint it and give yourself a sense of how it's shaping inside you. And each breath, each inhale gives us the opportunity to lengthen. And then we keep that length even as we exhale. So I had a teacher, and I forgot about this till just now, but I had a teacher who used to take your thumbs and place them in your armpits like a farmer and just gently press and lift side body long. So you get this really long spine. And just hold that for a few moments until you feel how long your spine can really get. And then you release and keep that length. So we'll take our hands out into a T just to begin before we do our centering. We're going to move a little bit. I'm going to have you turn a little bit to the left, like just maybe 1 or 2 inches. And in that position, I want you to just continue to breathe up that channel. And I want you to imagine that everything is working towards that center line. So left side, right side, front side, back side. And just notice if doing that, just that hugging to the midline, that you get a little more twist. That the body continues to twist even when you don't necessarily think twist. Where you're just activating the length of the spine and letting the spine unravel through its tightness just by being supported. And just, maybe notice that you just start to gently move in that direction without much effort. And then gently release that and just glide to the other side, just 1 or 2 inches, just to where you get that first sense of resistance. And then you work to lengthen the spine and to find equal action left, right, front, and back. And just noticing if with that action in mind, you start to twist. And take another breath or 2 there, imprinting, using your own muscles to imprint that midline. And then inhale, come on back. We'll take our arms straight overhead again, close your eyes or soften them down. And see if you just get an internal picture of the length of the front of the spine, equal to the length of the back of the spine, equal length to the left of the spine, and equal length to the right of the spine. And you'll just take this moment with your hands overhead to imagine that you're this conduit, that you're open to the blessings that are coming to you and dropping down through your body all the way to earth. And your breath then picks that back up and sends it up the spine again. So we just become this lovely conduit for energy. Another breath or 2 there. And then gently release your hands into prayer and take this moment to make an offering for your practice. And bow. Inhale, come on up. And we'll seal that with a breath and an om. And as you om today, I want you to imagine that you're filling up that tube. It's like a didgeridoo or something. Like you're just oming through that tube to create all this resonance. Here we go. Big deep breath. Beautiful. Release release your hands and open your eyes. We're starting on our backs. We're going to start with our 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, as we've done throughout the week, so that we just keep that in our mind's eye. So our knees are bent, our feet are flat on the floor. Our one hand is low on the belly, so the pinky side of the finger is touching the pubic bone. The other hand on the belly button, or just underneath the ribs. And you're just going to take a moment without changing anything, just to notice how your body's shaping on the floor. So you'll notice if your back just hangs down like a hammock, or if it lifts up like an arch. And then you just begin to shift and change that, so that you're trying to work to bring both hands into the same plane. And I notice for me, I really have to work on bringing that pubic bone down towards my tail, or down towards my heels, really, to help lift up the upper part of my back, or the 6 o'clock, what I'd call the 6 o'clock. And now I take the 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and I just kind of wiggle a little bit, or just kind of feel into where those might be. And then the belly draws in and up, and so that we draw strength and steadiness onto that neutral stacking spine. Keep that as best you can without getting hard, so you want to keep breathing, but keep mindful. And then you take your hands overhead on the floor, so they're just reaching behind you. Interlace your thumbs and stretch without changing that shaping. So you'll notice what your tendency is, because you're going to have to work against it a little bit to keep that 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock in this even plane as best you can. One more breath there. Belly is lifted in and up. And then you release your hands, but interlace them and take them behind your head. So the thumb side of your hand is resting on the occiput. That's that bony prominence before your neck starts. And you're going to exhale, just lift your head up until you can almost lift your shoulders off the floor. You'll notice that the 6 o'clock drops a little bit. That's okay, because you are doing some abdominal work. And then see if you can bring the chin into the chest, and very gently can you lay the spine, the spine of the neck back down one vertebra at a time. So you just very gently feel the lengthening out of the back of the neck. And then you even back out your 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and just notice the tendency. So as I even mine out, I notice the back of my neck wants to shorten, so I'm going to lengthen it. So I'm getting now length through the whole length of my spine. And breathe. One more breath there. And we'll repeat that. So as you exhale, you lift your head up off the floor. You're almost trying to get the shoulders off the floor. You can look at the belly button here, and you can pull the belly in and up, and then see if you can lay down one vertebra of the neck part of the spine down at a time. Keep going, like really take your time and see where that's the hardest. And then re-neutralize your pelvis, and notice how that wants to pull the back of the neck short again. So that's generally most people's tendencies these days, is to have the short back of the neck. And you just take a couple more breaths here to feel into that. Just getting a nice little traction here. And then you gently release that back down. Take your hands out in T. Look over towards your left hand, so you get a stretch through your left side of your, I think I said the left hand. I meant look over at your right hand and turn your left palm face down. And then keep looking and feel that little stretch through the neck. One more breath there. You might even notice how you get a stretch through your arm. So that whole neck arm constellation is connected. And then gently come back as if you could put the back of the neck back on the floor. And then start to look over to the left hand and turn your right palm face down.
And think about, even as you're looking, that the back of the neck wants to stay long, or maybe it doesn't want to, but we want it to. Another couple breaths there, feeling where the stretch is for you. And notice how it might be different where it is left and right. Beautiful. And then release that. Come back to center. You're going to take your hands and slip them up underneath your hips. And notice when the hands are underneath the hips, and mine are palm face down, that it helps me to pull the belly down, but it also makes me flatten the back. This is good for stretching out the low back. We can do this because we're lying down. It's not such a good position when we're standing. But I'm going to have you bring your legs up off the floor, and you're going to try to accentuate that curl. So you're going to try to, almost like you're trying to pick the sitting bones off of the floor. And you'll notice how you have to really use your low abs to do so. And then you're going to put your feet down. Okay, so that's your choice. You can keep your hands there if you want that support, or you can take them by your sides, palms face down. And here's the core work that we're going to do today. Come up onto tippy toes. Inhale. As you exhale, you press the back to the floor. You sweep your legs up and you try to get your hips up off the floor. And then you release them back down and tippy toe touch. Inhale. As you exhale, belly scoops. And you lift up. And then you try to come down slowly. Good. 3 more. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. 1 more. Exhale. Beautiful. Lay yourself back down. Let your feet drop on the floor. Take your arms out to the side and take a cleansing breath. And that just wakes up the lower abs, the transverse abdominis. Okay, now we're going to hug the legs or the knees into the chest and grab around our knees and just curl, trying to bring forehead to the knee. Take another breath or 2 here, just feeling that stretching, abdominal actioning. And you're going to keep your right leg in, but stretch your left leg out long. The hands now are going to come behind the head. Inhale. As you exhale, left elbow to right knee. We're going to be here for 2 more breaths. So each exhale, you're trying to touch the knee to the elbow. You're trying to traction the elbow up a little bit and pull the belly back down. The action really happens on the exhale. And then you release. Bring the knees in. Lay your head back down in such a way that you lengthen out the back of the neck. Cleansing breath. Exhale, curl. Take the right leg out. Inhale. Exhale, left elbow to right knee. Try to tap that knee to the elbow. Each breath helps you get there. And you try to even traction the elbow up towards the sky and pull the abdominals back. Last breath. Good. Bring your knees in. Head centers. Try to lengthen the head back down, lengthening out the back of the neck, cleansing breath. Here we go. First side again. Inhale, coming on up. Stretching out left leg. Exhale, crossover. Inhale, squeeze. Traction, pull. Come together. Lay the head back down slowly and longly, I was going to say. Inhale here. Second side, almost there. Exhale, right leg goes out. Cross over. Tap that knee. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Make it count. And exhale. Release. Bring your hands onto your knees and just make big circles. Think of cat-cow, letting that lower spine just really move. And breathe and let go of any tension that's accumulated in the body, mind, or spirit. And then go the other way. Waking up those legs. We're going to take our right foot to the floor and take our left leg across in Sukhi Randrasana, or figure 4 pose. And we're just gonna keep our hips on the floor for now. We're not gonna try to bring the knees into the chest. So hips on the floor. I want you to return to your 12 o'clock picture, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock picture. And as best you can, you just find that evenness there. They're all in the same plane, working together. The low belly picks up and pulls up the body. And you just take nice, big, deep breaths. My left ankle is strongly actioned onto my right knee, and my left knee is working to open up to the side. Or you could almost say moving forward. Couple more breaths here, keeping that mental picture of that clock face, and then breathe up that central channel, the most precious channel of the body, and breathe down that channel. Last breath, one more like that, imprinting. Beautiful, and release that out. Take a breath with that foot down on the floor. And switch sides, right ankle over left knee. And you start by finding your 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock plane, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. My right foot is awake and really active. It's like I want to pull energy from the sole of the foot, whether it's on the floor or sitting there in the air. I want to pull energy up that leg, but without losing that neutral pelvis. I'm going to bring the belly in and up, and I'm going to breathe up that central channel. And here you should be not only getting a stretch for the hips, maybe yes, maybe no, but you probably will be getting a stretch in the internal body. So the right knee kind of moves forward away from you as you keep that neutral spine, and you breathe up that central channel. And gently release. Beautiful. Bring your knees into the chest, and I want you to just start to rock a little bit, back and forth along the length of the spine. You can do that gently so that you can go in increments until you can roll all the way along the spine, from tail up to the back of the head. And if that's easy for you, you can even take the toes and tap them overhead, but that may not work for you. So you just listen to your body, and you just do what you can do. We're gonna finish up with one more, and we're gonna stick it in boat pose, Navasana. So come on up and try to stick it in boat pose, where your legs are up, your hands are reaching, and we pull that belly in and up. Take another breath here. We've got one more just like that. So knees come into the chest, we start to roll. One more, and then you're gonna stick Navasana. Here we go. Whoa. See if you can picture the body of water that you're on, and notice how beautiful that feels to be floating. Good, then take your right ankle over your left, cross it over, just reach forward, hinge at the hips. You'll notice I'm not rounding. Hinge at the hips, pull the belly in and up. Think about that 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock as best you can in this position. Beautiful, and then come on back, switch the crossing of your legs, and the same thing, we just hinge forward at the hips. We go as far as we can go without losing that action of neutral pelvis. One more breath. And then gently release. Go ahead and swing your legs around. We're gonna bring our blocks in, and we're gonna work with child's pose. So bring just one block in for yourself, and we're gonna have big toes touching, knees wide apart. And I'm noticing that for myself, usually at the beginning of my practice, I need the block at its highest point, and I put my forehead on that block. That doesn't mean you need that too, but this keeps my neck a little more neutral, like in line with the spine is what I want. So often in yoga, when we start doing forward bends, we let the head hang forward. That's okay, it's just that it's what we do every day a lot. we do texting, we do reading, we do art, we do things that bring the head forward in front of the midline, and over time it's hard. So we're just balancing that. So with the forehead on the block, you press the elbows into the knees. So they're like Sphinx arms, and I'm doing an isometric pressure. And then I'm imagining I could spread the collarbones and the scapula up wide to the left and to the right. Keep that action, and then listen carefully. You're going to lift your head off the block without lifting your head. You're going to use your neck. So if you look at your neck as a single unit, which it's not, it hooks into the spine, but we're going to pretend for now. You're going to take the lower edge of the spine and the upper edge of the spine equally up to the sky, and that's going to lift your head off. And that's the action of sides of the throat back or neck back in poses when you hear that. And you're just going to keep lifting that up until you feel that your neck is in line with your spine. And you're going to keep pushing elbows to knees, widening through the collarbone scapula. One more breath. You might notice that your abdominals are starting to lift as well. And release that down and take a cleansing breath. We'll do that one more time. So we're developing the muscles that are opposite to the muscles that got hyper-developed in our forward head culture. So rest your forehead on the block. Take another breath. And then push your elbows into the knees. The knees push back, and we try to spread collarbone scapula. Use the neck muscles to lift up equally from the lower end to the top end to lift your head up. And keep going until you feel those muscles start to engage. And the more they can engage, the more you can release the muscles on the front of the neck. And keep going until you feel like your neck, not your head, but your neck is in line with your spine. One more breath. And release. You're going to take that block out, and you'll just take a long distance child's pose with fingertips on the floor, and then just notice how the head likes to hang. So can you now bring it up where it was? And can you lift the armpits up as well? So that you're just working to bring that spine in one long unit. The core should lift as well to support. And then we walk our hands over to the right, and we feel that stretch starting to come into the left side of the body. You might even walk your fingers just another 1/4 of an inch forward on the left. Big deep breath through that side. And then walk yourself back. And try the other side, walking to the left. Walking forward with the right hand, noticing what's happening with your head. See if you can bring the sides of the throat in line to uplift the whole core. Last breath. And then release that on back. And find your way through center and up to tabletop. Go ahead and tuck your toes and take your fingers back, and so they point towards your knees. Not everybody will be able to do this, but try your best. You're going to spread your fingers and try to squeeze a grapefruit with your thumb, your pointer, your middle, your ring, and your pinky fingers till you feel those hands getting really, really strong. Take another breath. And then you're going to peel them back very slowly. So you're just going to lift the heels of the hands and the center of the hands, then the middle part, and then the fingers. The toes are tucked under. Interlace your fingers and roll those wrists around. Go the other way. Make your little begging pause. So your fingers are curled around and you're trying to take your own pulse. So really squeeze there. Get into those wrist and forearm muscles. Fire them up. Another couple breaths. Beautiful. Go ahead and shake those out. We'll come to hands and knees for cow-cat. So inhaling cow, exhaling cat. Inhaling cow, exhaling cat. Keep going just like that. Inhaling cow, Exhaling cat. Inhaling cow. And exhaling cat. Come to neutral spine, look forward like a cow tilt, toes tucked under, downward facing dog. And you can start to move this. Feel free to stretch left and right. To let the hips swing left and right. To breathe. Then come to tippy toes. Look forward like you're going to look at your hands and come forward slightly like you're doing a handstand, and then use your abdominals and come back to downward facing dog with a ha. Here we go. And then once again, inhale, push yourself forward till your shoulders are right over your wrists, and then exhale, ha, back. Inhale forward. Think about that central channel like it's just drawing forward and back. Ha. Inhale one more time. Exhale. Ha. All right. Walk your hands back to meet your feet. Bend your knees deeply. Pause and ragdoll and rock left and right. Here we go, back to downward facing dog. This time you're going to bring your feet closer together, and you'll inhale and bring your right leg up. And now just for a moment, notice what happened to that 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. My guess is like mine, it gets a little kittywampus, and it's going to have to, but you want to bring it into a little more equal awareness. One more breath here, and just notice how that changes the stretch on the standing leg. And then release that on down and take second side. Inhaling that up, noticing the tendency to tip that clock over to the left, so you're going to work to bring it back. You'll notice how you get a more intense hamstring stretch. So breathe into that hamstring. And exhale, release it down. Inhale to tippy toes, walk your way forward to the front of the mat and bow Uttanasana. Inhale, press yourself to Ardha Uttanasana, and just take a moment here and notice where your neck is, where your head is, and see if you can forget about your head for a moment, but can you bring your neck in line with that central channel? One more breath. Exhale to Utkatasana, bringing the hands to the hips, press your heart forward, and inhale, come up. Exhale, release your hands. Inhale, fly. Exhale, hands down through prayer. Just tracing that channel. We'll do two more like that. So inhale, fly. Exhale, tracing that central channel, just imprinting that most precious of central channels. Inhale. This time we're going to exhale and dive forward, Uttanasana. Pressing yourself halfway up to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees and take your right leg back to a lunge. We're going to drop that back knee to the floor. And we're just going to wriggle the hips left and right. You can even do a little circle if you'd like. Just get into those inner and outer hips. Beautiful. Then come back to center and walk your way up onto the front leg. Push your hands down and forward to engage your abdominals. Take a moment to notice that central channel or that clock face. Both will help you. Beautiful. Good. Drop your hands down. Lift your heart from the action of your legs and sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale. Release that down slowly with control and rock it forward and back. Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees. Take your right leg back to a bent knee lunge. Take a moment to wiggle around, to feel into your hips, and to breathe. And then come back to center. Walk your way up onto your front knee. Press down and forward. And just notice where that clock face is and how that central channel is aligned, including your neck. And then release your hands down and use your legs to lift the heart. Inhale, fly your arms. And exhale, release them down and step on back to plank pose. In plank pose, we're going to notice our head's tendency. It's so heavy, it's like a bowling ball. It wants to go forward. So bring the neck up. And take your right hand and turn it out to 2 o'clock. And just rock onto your right, that knife edge of your right foot. Open your left hand. No big deals yet. Here we go, second side. Left hand 10 o'clock, knife edge of left foot. Open that up. Good. Exhale it back down. Walk down onto your forearms. Feel the strength of your legs and feel the lift of your neck. Get into that central channel. And then exhale and drop your knees to the floor and take your hands all the way out in front of you for Danda Pranam and for a little bitty rock, just to get a little bit of movement going, a little bit of release after all that very focused, potent work. Okay, we're going to walk our hands back until we're in forearm plank. I'm not plank, but forearms, sphinx. You're going to tuck your left toes under, and you're going to use the strength of that leg as if you're pulling up muscle energy all the way into your left buttock and all the way into your left waistline. So I want you to get so much energy and strength on that leg that you can bring the muscles around your waist closer to the spine. It's almost like you're trying to get thinner. And you use that energy to lift up through the spine. Good. And release that out. Tuck your right toes under. Same thing. We press, we pull energy up that leg into the buttock. And we keep going. We try to pull it up into the waistline or those little muscles around the right-hand side of the spine, trying to make our spine, all the muscles narrower around the spine. And you just keep lifting that up and release. Now we're going to try to do both at the same time. So tucking both toes, pulling that energy up, trying to squeeze first into buttocks. We want really nice, strong, firm buttocks. And then we breathe around the spine, like we're trying to uplift, narrow, squeeze. See if you can lengthen through the crown. See if you can take the sides of the throat back and pull in the belly. Last breath. And release. Forehead to the floor. Take a cleansing breath. Hands go out in T. Rock over to your right. Kickstanding the left arm. You're going to stack on the right side of your body. You can either stay there. Sometimes I'll adjust and lift up a little bit so I can really externally rotate my right arm. You can also take your left leg and step behind you here and just get this lovely stretch for the shoulder. Now there's different things you can do for your head. You can rest it on a block, or you can work the sides of your neck back and see if you can bring the neck in line with your spine. That'll create a lot of strength and clear action. One more breath. Can you find that channel? All the way up the breath and all the way down the breath. Good, and release. Getting that deep stretch for the front of the shoulder. Second side. So we stretch left arm out to the side, kickstand right, and roll onto the right side of our bodies. And you can do a couple things. Again, head can be on a block. Right leg can step up and behind you. Or you can take this opportunity to lift the front of the shoulder up and to take the sides of the throat back, or the neck in line with the spine. One more breath. And gently release. We'll come back into Sphinx pose. Make our legs strong and active. See if you can start to come up on tippy fingers. Pull the belly in and up. Make the legs strong and see if you can come up a little higher. Now, if you start to get pinched, you've gone too far for your own strength. So you've got to pull energy up those legs. Make the booty strong and the waistline narrow. Lift the lower abs in and get tall. Last breath. And release it on down. Take a cleansing breath, forehead on your hands, just wiggle left and right. We'll finish this all up for this moment anyways in Shalabhasana. So hands come down by your sides, pointing towards your feet. You can roll your shoulders towards your ears and up to the sky and lift up. And you're just breathing here, and you're trying to see if you can make the booty stronger and the legs stronger, if you can narrow around that waistline, if you can pick up the belly, and one more breath. Beautiful. Keep your chest lifted. Hands down by your sides. Press up through cobra to tabletop to child's pose. Big toes touching, knees wide apart. Take a breath or two there just to lengthen out the spine. Beautiful. From here, we're going to rock forward onto hands and knees, tuck our toes, downward facing dog. See if you can find stillness here for a moment. Just appreciating your breath and the stretch. Make sure knees stay soft and hips are lifted. Make sure armpits are lifted and rooted down towards your pinky finger and your pointer finger and your thumb. One more breath. Good. Walk your feet together. Inhale, take your right leg to the sky. This time bend the knee and open it and see if you can stack your clock on its side. Just play around with that for a moment. And then inhale that leg up to the sky and exhale it back down. Second side. Inhale, left leg up. Bend the knee and see if you can stack your clock on its side. Now, there's a tendency for the right arm to collapse here, so keep pressing down and see if you can bring that strength all the way into that side clock face. Last breath. Inhale, reach it up to the sky and back down. Tippy toe yourself forward to the front of the mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Utkatasana. Press, stay in Utkatasana. Try to sit back on a little kid's chair, but press your heart up. One more breath. Belly is strong, and an inhale, stand. Exhale, release your hands. Bring the hands into prayer and just pause and feel. Big deep breath in, big full breath out. Seeing if you can breathe along that central line of the body. The most precious channel. See if the neck can stay in line with the entire spine. Last breath. Maybe you notice when the neck stays in line with the entire spine that the core has to work a little bit harder. Hippie. One more breath. Exhale, release your hands. Inhale, fly. Exhale, dive, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, take your right leg back to a straight leg lunge. Walk yourself up halfway. Press your hands down and forward to activate abdominals. Bring the strength of your legs all the way up through the legs so your booty goes back a little bit. It doesn't tuck under here. So you keep that clock face as best you can. Still find that central channel. So let your hands just drape down and work to find all that good alignment work. Breathing in, breathing out. And as you're ready, press through the legs and fly the arms. Good. We're going to bring our hands to prayer. We're going to bring our right elbow to left knee. And the hands stay in prayer. And I'm going to have you look just over your big toe, in line with the big toe. It can be out a couple feet. And I want you to find that central channel and begin to squeeze around it. And if that feels good to you and you feel like you're getting that channel, then you just turn and you look over towards the side and maybe even up towards the sky. But you got to keep that central channel strong and open. Last breath. Beautiful. Release that. Plant your hands. Rock it forward and back, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, left leg back, straight leg lunge. Walk yourself up halfway, hands on the knees, pressing down and forward. Find that central channel, find that clock face. You try not to tuck the hips under, but to keep them long. And lift it. And then drop your hands down and keep working. You're trying to even get the neck in line with the tail. Last breath. I bet you're feeling a nice stretch through the front of your left hip right about now. Press and lift your heart and fly your arms. You're going to bring your hands together and your left elbow to the right knee. And just look straight forward for now. It's easier to find that central channel when you're not trying to look off to the side. And you want to really squeeze around it as if you could lengthen it. And then if it works with that squeeze, you start to turn and look over the right shoulder. Last breath. And gently release. Step back to plank. Take your right hand out to 2 o'clock. Knife edge of right foot. Open the left arm to the sky. Place that down. Second side. Place that down. Come back to plank. Come back to forearm plank. One arm at a time. One breath at a time. Belly lifting up away from the floor. Exhale, knees to the floor. Hips to the floor. Tops of the feet. Inhale, look forward. Sphinx pose. Take a breath. Another one. Keep going. Keep breathing. Seeing if you can keep some of that strength in the legs around the spine. The uplift, the support of that central channel. And then you might have to lay yourself down just a little bit to sneak your arms behind you and then to lift your legs, Shalabhasana. Keep bringing the strength of the legs up to your booty and around the base of the spine. One more breath. And then keep your heart lifted, hands by your sides. Push up through cobra, through tabletop, through child's pose. Big toes touching, knees wide apart. Sit on back, breathe. One more breath. Good. Come up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Inhale to cow. Exhale back to dog. Find your stillness. Find your pose. And for those of you who are here in the last class, you might remember that the action of the feet goes from mound of the big toe to inner heel. And the outer heel drops forward to the mound of the pinky toe. So see if you can just find that energy for a moment without straightening your legs, keeping the knees soft. We're going to do the same thing with our hands. Pointer finger, thumb draw up to the inner arm. Outer arm reaches back down to the pinky finger. And then you press the hips back and you lift the shoulders slightly forward to stretch the spine. Inhale to tippy toes. Exhale, walk forward all the way to the front of the mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Utkatasana. Hands to the hips. Sit back on that little kid's chair. Press your heart forward. Bring in your abdominals and come up slowly to stand. Exhale, release your hands. Bring them to Samastahiti. Big deep breaths following the same cadenced rhythm, that same big beautiful breath up the channel. Last one. We'll take our Surya Namaskar into some side angle and warrior two and half moon pose and triangle. We got some good work to do. So here we go. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, release your hands. Inhale, fly. Exhale, dive. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, right leg back, straight leg lunge. You're going to anchor your back foot and bring your left elbow to your left knee. And take a moment to notice that the front heel should bisect the arch of the back foot. And then take a moment to see if you can take your mind's eye into that little clock face and just see what that feels like here. You don't have to force it into any shape, but just have it be somewhat neutral. Good. From there, your legs are strong. They're active to the midline. You open your right arm to the sky. And you take it overhead, Utthita Parjottanasana. Now you're welcome to stay here. There's a couple other variations. If you'd like, you can take your hand down the inside of the leg. Maybe a block is helpful for you here, or you can take it down the outside of your leg. Yogi's choice. But whichever, I want you to just put your attention into the clock face and the central channel just to explore the shaping of the pose in that way. One more breath. And then you release that top hand, look down at the bottom leg, press down, and come up to standing straight legs. Inhale. Exhale, guide that front knee right over the second and third toe and adjust your pose. So here you can go wider if you want, if it works for you, or you can stay where you are. Eventually you want this front thigh to be parallel to the floor, but remember that the most important thing is you to find the action, not the end of the pose. So we press down with that standing leg. Inhale. We exhale, we guide it over the second and third toes. Press it down like you're pressing through your heel to straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Got one more. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. Take your hands on your hips. Just take a moment to notice where 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock are to best of your ability. Stretch the arms out. Look over the front hands. Breathe here. Beautiful. Moving into Goddess Warrior. We inhale, reach, and we exhale, come back. I love to grab this top wrist and pull it out over to the side. And then inhale to stretch out those legs. Take a breath. Just take your arms straight overhead and imagine that that channel is open for blessings. Good. And then the left hand down to the knee. Drop it down for triangle. Again, take your time. Work into this slowly, mindfully to keep your body safe. The hand can be on a block, on the ankle, on the shin, whatever feels good to you, but use the strength of your legs to open the right arm to the sky. And then just check it out here and see where your neck is in relation to the rest of your spine. See if you can pull the sides of the throat back and breathe. And then if the neck is in line with the spine, we have the freedom to look up. But if it's forward and we try to look up, we'll get a lot of pain in the neck. Beautiful. Reach that hand back down. Bend the front knee. Just rock it a bit and step that back leg halfway. The left hand comes out so that it's out from the pinky toe and I'm on my fingertips. The right hand can stay like a kickstand. We press down and lift up the back leg. So now we look like an L there, and you just take a moment to find your center, like you're drawing up energy from the legs up to that central channel, and then you're opening the right arm to the sky. One more breath. Okay, release down. Carefully listen. Turn your hips square to the mat so that you're square now. You're going to keep your right hand on the floor and just bring your left hand to your hip. And you're just going to open that shoulder without dropping the right hip. Little twist. And then drop your right knee and your left knee. Both are bending. I'm bringing my right knee behind my left knee, and I'm sitting all the way down for a twist. Just take a moment here to organize yourself so that you feel like your hips are just anchored straight down. I'm going to Inhale, my right arm up overhead. Exhale, elbow to knee. Left hand behind me, and then I just work at lengthening that channel. Don't worry about the twist. It'll happen. Couple more breaths. One more breath. And gently release. You're going to rock back onto that standing left leg. Take the right leg out in a lunge. And then walk over to the center, Prasarita Padottanasana. So now both feet are pointed straight towards the long edge of the mat. And from here, soften the knees and bow forward. Let the head hang. Breathe deeply. Feel the stretch. Big, deep, full breaths. Never stop that cadenced breath, that beautiful inhale and exhale. I sometimes will rock forward and back here a little bit just to keep a little movement alive so I don't feel stuck in the pose. Good. And then I'm going to walk over to the right, and I'm going to turn my right foot out. So now we're going to be in a lunge again, just like we started. So you're going to make sure that heel is bisecting the arch of the back foot. Right elbow comes onto the right knee. And I can look down here and make sure that that right knee is tracking over second and third toe so I don't weaken that. Take a breath here. Feel into that clock action and open the left arm to the sky. You can take it overhead. Uttita Parshvottanasana. And then just soften your eyes down a little bit and see if you can feel into your body, into that channel. And notice if you just focus on lengthening it, the twist happens. One more breath. Beautiful. And release that. Look down at the floor, plant that heel down, and press yourself slowly to standing. We got to make those legs really strong. So we'll take the right hand onto the knee and guide that knee over second and third toe. And then inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. And you don't really want to take the knee past vertical. So that gets weak. It's really strong now if it's over the second and third toes and vertical down. Otherwise, it starts to weaken the action of the knee. So just make sure that. Take another breath. And then stay there for a moment. Bring your hands to your hips. Make sure that knee is staying right over the second and third toe. And then just work into that kinesthetic awareness of your inner body. So you just work at trying to feel better into that clock face and the central channel. I notice when I do that, I get a more intense stretch on the inner thigh. And then from there, I stretch my arms out. Warrior two. Looking out over that front hand. Opening up through those hips and breathing. Last breath. Goddess warrior. Inhale, reaching. Exhaling back. Keeping that knee just tracking where it is. Opening the side channels of the body. Inhale, press down with the leg to straight. Take your arms up overhead. Extend your hands, and then just take a moment to even out your body. Soften down your eyes and just open yourself up to something beautiful coming down into you, filling you up. We need as much of that right now as we can. Good. Exhale. Release your hands. Take them down the leg to unlock the knee. Keep going to where your stretch is. It could be to your shin, your ankle, a block, the floor. Either way, wherever you are, left hand on the hip. Just take a moment to feel into the center line of the body. Let that be your journey today. And even feel into the neck here. Is it pulling back in line with my whole spine? Because it is an extension. It's just the upper extension. We often forget about that as being part of this long, eager spine. And then pressing down with the legs, we open up the hand. And notice that you'll not want to look up if your head's farther forward. If you bring the sides of the throat back and this is also a twist, by the way. So if you bring the sides of your throat back and worry about the length of the spine, the twist will start to happen. One more breath. And release. You're going to drop the hands to the floor, rock it a little bit till you step forward with that back leg. Right hand comes straight out from the pinky toe side of the foot. Left hand can stay on the floor. Bend both knees, press up to an L shape. And my foot is pointing straight towards you, so that's what you want. And you just take a moment to feel into this central channel clock face. You can bring a hand up to your hip, or you can open it up to the side. One more breath. You're trying to stack and get neutral pelvis even here. And then we exhale, we drop it on down, both knees bend, and we come on down to sitting for a twist. Even if it takes you a few moments to get down, try to have one leg underneath, one leg over top. And then I like to just move around until I can feel both hips drop anchor. It's just like, whoo. And then the left arm comes overhead, the elbow comes to the knee, and again, just look at that diagonal and focus on length through the spine. Can you find that even action, front, back, left, right? Can you find the twist just happening without effort? Because you've aligned and worked towards length. One more breath. Beautiful. And release. We're going to rock forward here and step right back to downward facing dog. Maybe you're easier said than done, but it's a good place to be right now. We can see this as our resting point and also our place where we regroup. Where you feel the strength of the legs and hands coming up to their respective connection to torso. I think of it as like rooting my arms and legs into my torso. The belly and the ribs come in, and the sides of the throat move back till my head and neck are in line with my spine. One more breath, pressing through your feet to make the spine longer. And then release on down. Come onto your knees, sit on back in Vajrasana, and take a moment just to integrate. One more breath. Where is your neck now in relationship to your spine? Take a moment to check in there. We're going to take this right into pigeon, Ekapada Rajakapotasana, king pigeon pose. So you come to hands and knees, and you swing your left knee forward. I'm going to take you through the most remedial of pigeons, and then we'll move it along. So you can stay anywhere along on this journey that you'd like. The back leg goes out straight, but you can drop the knee to the floor. And if that feels good to you, just come down onto your forearms. And you might be getting a little stretch here, and that's good. And you can just take this moment to work that central channel and that clock face and see what you can do to bring a little more stretch to the internal body, a little more stretch, awareness, and alignment. If you want to go farther, then you rock out onto your outer left hip. You're going to swing the left leg left shin forward till it's parallel to the front of the mat. And then you're just going to come back to your Sphinx pose. This is kind of a remedial too. It's just getting into the outer hip, and you take this moment to find that central channel, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, as best you can. You notice that awareness brings your abdominals into play in every pose. If you want to stay here because you're getting enough, stay there. If you want a little bit more, you come on up and you rock until your hips are square. And if your left knee comes up off the floor, that's your truth. And you bring your right knee off the floor, and you work to open up the hips and bring in core, and then you start to bow forward like you're long. And now I'm getting some good work for my arms as well. If that still works for me, I come on all the way through. You can stop anywhere along that journey, and you've got Ekapada Rajaka Uttasana, King Pigeon Pose. One more breath there. Beautiful. I've started coming into that pose a different way because it really feels good, and I feel like I can get more clarity when I come through it that way. We're going to rock back onto that left hip. Take our hands out in Sphinx so they're framing the left knee, and then I'm going to swing my right leg around and bring it back to center. And I can bring my legs here in and just take a pause, feet on the floor. Feel the squareness of my hips and my chest. Okay, second side. So that left leg is going to swing around. And we're going to come into the most remedial of Ekapadas. One-legged. Eka, remember, Eka means one. Pada means leg. Rajakapata means king pigeon. So we just take this moment in this pose, and maybe that's enough for us. Maybe we feel that stretch in the front of the left hip, and that's enough. If it is, stay there and breathe and enjoy and find that central channel. You've got lots of work to do, even to bring your neck in line with your spine. If you want to go farther, you rock out onto your outer right hip, and you swing your right shin so that it's parallel to the front of the mat. And then I'm just going to come down in Sphinx arms. So they're framing the front knee. They're equidistant. And I feel that stretch in the outer hip and IT band. And I bring in my core there. That central channel clockwork here. And I take one more breath. And maybe I stay here. Maybe I'm getting a nice enough stretch here. And that feels like a good intermediate step for me. If I want to go farther, I'm going to have to walk up and square myself. So I call this flying pigeon. So the left leg comes up off the floor. Both hands come up, both knees come up off the floor. And I try to square my hips and open through the hip sockets. And then if I have access to it, I come down. If I don't, I stay flying for a while. And I can come onto forearms here, or I can walk my forearms around that front knee again to get that external rotator, gluteus, minimus maybe, medius, maybe max. One more breath. There's that core work, that 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock channel coming up the body, neck in line with the spine. Good, and then you're just going to rock back so the elbows go equidistant if you moved along, and you rock out onto that left hip. Swing it around, bring it through, and find your strap. My strap's in a little bit of a loop, so I'm going to have to minimize that loop because I want a long strap. My feet are flat on the floor. I'm just going to rest that strap for a moment because we're not going to use it right away. We're just going to do my awesome new favorite stretch. It's actually an old one we've done, but I'm adding a new variation. So with your feet flexed and your knees pointed straight up to the sky, you take your right hand up and you reach across to the outer left foot. The left hand is kickstand. I'm going to shrug my right shoulder. As I exhale, I do cat tilt. I shrug the right shoulder again. Exhale, do cat tilt. And then for the final, if I want, I lift up that foot and I press through the foot, cat tilt, and I get this amazing stretch through the back of the scapula. Getting that amazing stretch there. You want to still shrug, pull, and push. Last breath. And gently release. Take a cleansing breath. Good. Here we go. Second side. Feet are flexed. Left hand raises, comes on over to the outer right foot. Shrug left shoulder. Exhale into belly. Curl the spine. Good. If you're ready to go up to the next level, you shrug, you pull the abs back, you lift the foot, and then you press and try to extend it without straightening the leg. So you're just working to extend and open the mid back or the upper back. Belly strong, shoulder shrugging. Last breath. and release. Whew, take a cleansing breath. Wow, that's awesome. I hope that changes your life like it is mine. Take your strap, place it underneath your feet. One more core work for the day to get us onto our back. So you're going to have the strap right around the mound of the big toe and the pinky toe, not the arches, not the toes. I'm double wrapping my hands around that strap, so I'm really feeling it. My feet are strong and pressing into the strap, and then I start to lean back. When I feel that first lower vertebra, so like in the sacrum or upper tailbone, I pull the belly in and up. And then I go back one vertebra, and then I pull the belly in and up. And then I go back one vertebra and pull the belly in and up. Keep going just like that. You're just working to articulate spine and get strong in your abdominals until each vertebra has its moment on the mat. You'll notice there's a place that's super hard for you, and that usually indicates that's where your abdominals are weakest. When you get it, go all the way down and say, hallelujah. We're on our backs. Take the cleansing breath. Keep that strap handy. So you probably want it on your lap. Bend your knees. Take your feet both into the sky. So now look like an L, and your hands out in T. And just take a moment to feel into the stretch if you're getting one. I'm not, because I'm a little bit open, so you may not be either, and that's okay. But I want you to just feel into that clock face for a moment. So you're activating your abdominals. And even though we're not going to do abdominal work, it's just really a good thing to do to keep them awake and alert. The belly drops in and up. And now keep your left leg where it is and drop your right leg down without losing that good work of the clock face and the central channel. And then exhale, bring it up. So you don't have to go very far. As soon as you lose that 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock plane, you've gone too far. Or even the 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Like, it's kind of different for everybody. Everybody has a weakness. Exhale, come back up. We're going to do one more each side. Keeping that neutral spine, that vertical stacking, that long back of the neck. Exhale it up. Inhale it down, other side. Keeping that clear channel open in the body. And exhale, bring it up. Hug your knees into the chest and just take a cleansing breath. All right, we're going to put the right foot on the floor. We're going to take half happy baby. So you're going to bend the knee so the foot is square to the ceiling or parallel to the ceiling. And you're going to just drop that left knee down by your left rib. And you can just do little pulsations, just very gently, just gently stretching and breathing. All right. Now take the strap and interlace it or loop it around your foot and take that leg into the sky and configure your clock face. And feel that breath then evenly, softly moving up the central channel. Can you start to feel that connection that when you get that clock face in its optimal place, that the breath just kind of frees you up the spine? You're going to take the right leg long, so it's on the floor, and the second and third toes are pointing straight up into the sky. And once again, reactivate your awareness of 12, 6, 3, and 9, and keep those as you move towards a stretch. And I would say that the most important thing is not how close you can get your foot to your head, but how true can you stay to your vertical stack. So you're imprinting this now for standing poses. So one more breath. Beautiful. You can bend your right knee. This is optional, but it's just a little more remedial. Take your right hand on the strap. Take your left hand out in T, and then rock out onto the right side of your body for twisted Supta, Padangusthasana. And you want if you can, you want the left shoulder relaxed back onto the floor. And you want to stretch through left heel and left fingers. Now, you might notice here that even here your head is forward of neutral. So if it is, lift it and bring the sides of the throat back in line with your spine. I'm always amazed at how that just happens by habit. Those muscles are so overdeveloped, and the ones that keep it in line are a little underdeveloped. So we want our yoga practice to help with that better balance. Last breath. Exhale, swing those legs up. Bring the left hand onto the strap and the right hand onto your knee. Inhale. As you exhale, curl up and look at your knees and take them into an equal V. And then work at that clock face as you lay back down. One more breath. And inhale it back up. Half happy baby. De-lassoing. Stretching the knee into your outer left rib. And then bringing that foot across the other knee. So now it's back in Sukhi Randrasana where we began. And just take a moment to notice how that feels now, what you know differently, what you feel differently, what's a little more open, what's a little more solid. One more breath. And gently release that and take a pause before we finish where we start with second side. I always love to look at the textural difference between my left inner body and my right inner body as we've stretched that left side. I always even notice that my left cheek drapes a little bit more. So there's just a little bit more openness throughout my body. Here we go, second side. Lasso that right foot around the ball of the toes. Stretch that up towards straight and realign that 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock as best you can. Stretch out the left leg so the toes are pointing straight up. And just pause there, feeling into that stretch of the hamstring. You can keep that left knee bent, by the way, if that's enough for you. And worry less about how far you get that right leg to your face. That's the tendency all of us want. We want to look like, I don't know, some famous ballerina or some famous yogi that can bring that leg behind their head or something. But for now, we're going to worry more about how do we work the muscles of the body and the stretch to bring us into optimal alignment as humans, not as amazing gymnasts and stretchy yogis, but just as humans, so that we bring ourselves into better alignment, less pain, less heartache, maybe even. One more breath. We're going to bring that strap into the left hand, or both straps into the left hand. You're going to bend the standing leg. I call that the standing leg, the one that was on the floor, because if this pose was standing, that would be. And you rock to your left side so that your right leg is parallel to the floor. Release your right shoulder back and stretch in two directions, through the heel and through the fingers. Keep breathing, steady breath. Opening up those core lines of the body. Last breath. Exhale, return to center. Legs straight overhead. Exhale, and the next time to curl up until you can see between your legs, and then take them out in a perfect V or an imperfect V. But realign that core template and lay back down. And just enjoy this stretch where the core is neutral and stable, and you're stretching the distal ends of your body without distorting your core, your alignment. Breathe out through that central channel, that most precious place in a yogi's body. One more breath. And then inhale, come up. Exhale, half happy baby. Bring that right knee into the right armpit, right ribs. And you can do a little pulsation if you'd like. And breathing out any stress through the breath. Bringing up the other leg. Full happy baby. I'm really now playing around with, what if I tip my pelvis back towards neutral? It may not be as rounding of the low back, but I'm again imprinting that idea of neutral pelvis and then bringing the sides of the throat back. So I'm just reminding my body to have my neck in line with my spine so that I can extend the back of my neck. One more breath here. And it really pushes me a little bit to find the stretch in my upper thighs. Otherwise, I feel all the stretch in my low back. And my upper thighs are tight, so that feels good to me. Beautiful. And then very gently relax that. And just bring your feet together. You can hold your ankles and give yourself a little bit of a foot rub. All right, you're going to plant your feet back down on the floor and roll to your right side. And actually set you up for a restorative pose today. So I'm hoping you have some props with you, and you can get away with just 2 blankets and a strap with this. So I'm hoping you have something of that nature. If you have a pillow from a couch, you can do that too. But you're going to fold your blanket into half pillow fold. So this is pillow fold, and this is half pillow fold. And you're going to place that long ways on the mat. And you'll do the same thing with your second blanket. Half pillow fold. This is a great hip stretch, a great back stretch, and a great digestive stretch. So if you plan on having any good food this weekend, which I'm hoping you do, you're setting yourself up for that really well. So now I've got my 2 blankets stacked on each other. This is going to be the hard part because you have to listen carefully. But you're going to make your strap into a big enough loop that you can get in it. Like, be generous with yourself at first. And you're just going to step inside that like you're putting on a sweater inside that loop. And you can hold it so that it's around your waistline. You're going to turn so that your back are to those blankies, and you're going to take that strap straight out in front of you. Now, I don't want the strap around your waist. I want it around your upper hips there. So just take a moment to do that. And then you're going to take one end of the strap. So now I'm between my knees are out to the side. I take one end of that loop and I tuck it underneath my feet. The other end I'm going to tighten. So now I've got this strap behind my hips, over my inner thighs, and underneath my feet. I hope you got all that. I'm going to turn towards you for a second, so maybe you can see it from this direction. And it's really nice to have it pretty tight. So it's kind of tricky, and you get better at this as you go along, where you have the strap end. It's really nice if you have it right in your side, and so you can cinch it right there. Okay, once you feel like you have it pretty well cinched, then you're going to scoot your booty close to those blankies, and you're going to lie on back picking up one end of the top blanket and making a little pillow. So you can either tuck it under or tuck it over, just depending on how it feels good to you. And you make a little pillow for your neck. And then you just relax here. Now, if that's too much for your low back, if you feel a little pinching, then you have to try a couple different things. You got to try moving away from the blankets or closer towards them, and to see where you get the support that you need. And then there might also be that you need to tighten your strap a little bit. It's kind of like riding a horse. So you ride him one time, and then you've got to tighten that saddle because it gets loose over time. Okay, and then just feel the soles of your feet together. If for some reason this is hard on your hips or your knees, you can put a block underneath your knees. If you're still feeling it in your back, then you take your hands underneath your butt flesh and you scoop it towards your heels. And that'll sometimes give a little bit of length to the low back. If this absolutely doesn't feel good, then you get out of the strap, you bend your knees, feet wide on the sticky mat, and drop your knees together. Otherwise, this is called Supta, reclining cobbler's pose. Supta Baddha Konasana. And it's a great digestive pose because the digestive lines of your body in Chinese medicine go through the pelvis and down the inner legs, through the inner ankle. And so you're getting a nice stretch, opening that digestive channel. And you're just going to breathe up that central channel as best you can. And as best you can, let all tension go. Rest on the blanket that's underneath you. We'll be here for about 5 minutes. If at any time this is just not any fun for you, then you're just going to come into Shavasana. You could put your blanket rolls underneath your knees and just rest there. So please make yourself comfortable and relaxed and let go. Let your breath get deeper and smoother, and eventually I want you to release your grip even from the breath. You just allow life to come into you as it will, and you let go of any stress or tension or holding. You deepen your breath. Maybe start to wiggle your fingers and stretch your arms to come out of the pose if you're not already. You loosen up the strap first as best you can and then sneak your feet out. Take a breath there, take a moment, move slowly and carefully as you're in that pose for about 5 minutes. And then as you're ready, you just kind of fall off to the side of your bolster, bending your knees, and then you've got a bolster right there to sit up on for just a few moments as we finish up our practice together. Sitting in Sukhasana. Find a comfortable seat and see how it's shifted and changed since the beginning of your practice. See if your neck has a little bit greater awareness of its place on the spine. See if your breath feels into that central channel with a little more clarity. And we let our hands just come gently and float up to prayer. Taking this final time in our practice to give thanks that we can come to such a healing practice. We give thanks that we have the space and the time and the finances in our life to come. And we give thanks that we have people to practice with and teachers to be challenged by. And we take some of the blessing that we gained and send it to where it's needed. And practicing being agents of healing. And we finish our practice with the mantra, I am happy. I am healthy. I am safe. And I am free. Namaste. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Namaste.